My name is Anjali Gohill and I'm a criminal barrister. I was called to the bar 13 years ago and for the last 10 years I've been practicing here in Bristol. I believe that anyone with the talent and the drive should be able to do this job, not just a select privileged few. Over decades, that ideal has started to become a reality. But all of that is about to change. Proposed changes to criminal legal aid will mean that small firms up and down the country will be driven out.
The threat at the moment to the legal system, amongst many other threats, one of them in particular is that it is about to shrink dramatically in terms of the range of people who are going to be practicing within it. And that is, it involves racial diversity, ethnic, religious, even economic, political, every social background as well is likely to be shrunk down to those people that the proposals will allow to continue to practice. And that's generally going to be the economically privileged. And so when that becomes the case, everybody to whom that doesn't apply is naturally selected against.
I'm Rodney Wilson, a solicitor advocate and director of Elite Solicitors. In 1999, myself and a friend, Paul Wycliffe, started Elite Solicitors. This is a practice that is the only BME-owned practice that specialises in criminal law in the southwest. In fact, it's the only practice west of Reading and south of Birmingham.
My name is Andrew Langdon. I've been a barrister for 27 years. I'm Queen's Counsel. It means I prosecute and defend serious cases. I'm currently the leader of the Western Circuit, which is an organisation of about 1,000 barristers who operate all over the west of England. We are entering a crisis point, and it's this. The Legal Aid Fund gives access to justice, and the government thinks that it's a soft target and it won't lose votes if it cuts the Legal Aid Fund. Legal aid payments to those who work in criminal legal aid have been savagely cut over the last 5 years by about 35%. There are ways of saving money that do not involve these cuts. There's huge wastage in our criminal justice system. We've identified where it is. Those are much more constructive ways of making savings than what the government has been doing. Its recent plan is to cut again by, they say, 17.5%. In real terms, it's more like about 20%. The legal aid fund available for criminal defence solicitors. And the government agrees, it's not just me saying it, that the effect of that is that small businesses will not be able to survive.
Black and minority ethnic lawyers have historically practiced in small firms because that's where they were able to practice. And those firms are the ones that are going to be closed down.
We couldn't continue with the margins if they were further decreased as proposed, and so we would have to close.
It's going to have a disproportionate impact on parts of the community that have had to work harder to succeed, and one of those parts is the black lawyer community. Here in Bristol, when I started out as a baby barrister 27 years ago, there were no black lawyers working in criminal defence firms. It was a time of social upheaval. There were riots in the city. There were no black lawyers able to help with that situation.
I've been working in criminal law now for about, well, definitely over 20 years. And the reason that I went into criminal law was as a young man, as a black young teenager and young adult, I was persistently being stopped by the police on my way to work, and sometimes I was late. So when the chances came along for me to work in this field, to put the police and the criminal justice system to task, me and my brother jumped at the chance.
Back then, there was a lot of racism, without a doubt. I can remember being in St. Paul's, and you'd be just walking along Grosvenor Road, and I remember this incident clearly to this day. A police car driving along Grosvenor Road. I'm walking along Grosvenor Road with my friends, and police officers opened the window and shouted out racist abuse to us, you know? That was what happened.
I'm a solicitor and Higher Court advocate. I was in partnership with Rodney Wilson when we set up Elite Solicitors Limited on Stapleton Road some 14 years ago. I came from Jamaica when I was about 7 years of age, and coming into England at that point was very difficult given the outwardly racist ways in which people would treat immigrants at that time. Your aspirations as a child were relatively low. Certainly it didn't run as high as being involved in the criminal justice system, especially since my perception of the system at that point was that it was simply another arm of the government, if you like, to continue to oppress black people.
Over the years, all that has changed. Now there are, working within Bristol and within our wider legal community in the area, several respected black lawyers. In addition, we've got a black firm here in Bristol that is wholly run and owned by black lawyers, and it brings on new, young black lawyers into our legal community.
We have always been established as a training establishment, which allows us to take on trainee solicitors. The 14 years that we've been in practice, we have had 10 trainees through this firm. We currently have one who qualifies in about 14 months' time, and there is one young lady who's waiting to start.
I'm Curtis Talfer, I'm 25 years old, and I'm a trainee solicitor here at Elite Solicitors. I was born and raised in Bristol, and I actually live in the local area of Easton. I attended local state schools. I was the first person in my family to attend university. Growing up, I didn't have anyone in the family to look up to, or in the local community, anyone that I knew that I can say, yeah, that person's a lawyer and I want to be like them. Coming into the legal profession, there wasn't anyone that I knew.
My name is Melissa Toney, and I am a solicitor and solicitor advocate at Elite Solicitors Limited. I am aged 35. I first came to the UK at the age of 14, qualified having done my LPC in Bristol, and then I have been now working with Elite as an associate firstly for 10 years and a solicitor advocate now for 8 years. Elite afforded me an opportunity which, coming out of the LPC, I wasn't afforded anywhere else. I think, unfortunately, I have the battle of both race and my sex, both of which are very big hurdles to get over.
Explain why that is.
I work in a predominantly white, middle-class, male profession, and that's the starting point.
How do you deal with those obstacles?
Double tax, I like to call it. Work that bit extra hard, proving yourself continuously, aligning yourself with people who are supportive and provides you with opportunities to continue to grow, and constantly ensuring that you improve your skills and your performance. You can't perform anything less than the best on every opportunity.
This is an organisation which is very difficult for people from black and minority ethnic communities to do well. Times have moved on and times are much better, but we shouldn't go backwards. What these proposals might do is they stop firms like Elite Solicitors from producing young solicitors, and also it will prevent lawyers coming into the profession who have something to give. And the reason is because they don't have that financial cushion. If they keep bringing the rates down on a daily basis, people will then wonder, well, this isn't a job for me. All those stereotypes I heard about were right. This is a rich man's job. It's not a job for somebody who doesn't have a huge cushion of wealth behind them.
In this case of the legal profession and what's taking place within it, diversity is not something we're trying to attain or achieve. It's something we're trying to preserve. So the diversity that we currently have and we enjoy and has developed organically over decades is now at risk.
His Honour Judge Horton, a judge at Bristol Crown Court since 2008, wrote to the Lord Chancellor in the following terms. Over a period of many years, local communities in large cities, of which Bristol is a very good example, have acquired a community of BME solicitors and barristers who have grown up in or trained in that area. The subtle trust and links between those lawyers, the police and the courts creates a feeling of trust in the legal system, which has enabled potential friction and mistrust to erode, enabling historically marginalised ethnic minority communities to feel they are understood and safely represented within the legal system. Previous assessments by the government has recognised this fact and protected this need. It is vital to community cohesion, he said. The proposed reduction in fees, together with the emphasis on consolidation and capacity in order to survive, will destroy these small firms, which, due to their small size, will not be financially viable. The knock-on effect for the few BME barristers in this city who have developed a practice and are trusted within the communities of which I speak is real. They rely heavily upon instructions from BME firms. They will be obliterated. His Honour Judge Horton went further. I have heard from the police, representatives of local communities and voluntary sector organisations that the absence of such legal representatives in times of social stress will fuel perceptions of inequality and alienation in those communities. These are not minor considerations and have previously been the cause of major social disharmony.
For the first time in my life as a barrister, I'm having to speak as a black man. I've never had to do that before. And why am I doing that? Because as a group, black, minority ethnic people, we have a voice that we want Mr. Grayling to hear. He won't talk to us. He won't talk to the barristers. He won't talk to the solicitors because he believes he's right. This legal system in which we all work is the envy of the world. People in America, in Africa, and all the countries are falling about themselves, wishing to be like English lawyers. Grayling, you cannot destroy that because of money. You just cannot do it. People should stop him. It's not about money. It's about culture. It's about justice. It's about fairness. Those are all concepts which we as British people, as pals, and enjoy. One man can't destroy it. One man shouldn't destroy it.
What's even more concerning is that it is from the pool of lawyers that our future judges are chosen. So if the black and Asian and ethnic minority lawyers go, what is our judiciary going to look like? The significance of this question becomes clear when we consider a study produced by the Ministry of Justice in November 2013. That study showed that black and Asian defendants are almost 20% more likely to be sent to jail than those who are white. It also showed that the average sentence given to Caucasian criminals is 7 months shorter than those given to Afro-Caribbean offenders. Disturbingly, in every year studied, a higher proportion of white defendants had previous convictions, which would normally result in a higher number of prosecutions and harsher sentences. But this does not appear to be the case. Peter Herbert, chairman of the Society of Black Lawyers, responded as follows. The figures represent institutional racism. I'm not sure what else you can call it. The effect is right across the criminal justice system, from stop and search, to arrest, to charge and to sentencing. Every aspect of the process is stacked against defendants from ethnic minority backgrounds. It is not a pretty picture. In October 2013, the Western Circuit wrote to the Lord Chancellor in a document entitled Sounding the Alarm. Paragraph 68 said the following. We challenge the government to research this issue candidly, properly and fully, and to demonstrate, if it be the case, that its proposals will not have the effect we describe. It will help if, as we have done, the topic is discussed directly and openly with those concerned. We've heard nothing.